Welcome back to my channel. It's Roby1 and I'm out here in Southbridge, Mass. Looking at the Dresser house, which was originally supposedly built by the Amadowns, and Chester Dresser lived there at one time. The first worship master mason of the Quinnebog Lodge. And right here I have the newspaper. Here's his gravestone. These brethren cleaning it up. I've shown this before in a video. And then right here it tells you Brother Chirpic was able to find Quinnebog Lodge's first worship master, WOR abbreviated, Chester A. Dresser's gravestone. And then on page 50 it says Quinnebog Lodge received its charter. We had 18 names from the Mass Masonic records, and 9 of these master masons were found in the old section of Oak Ridge Cemetery, which is right there. And my first Graveyard Tales in video was actually right there at that monolith. Heathens in our midst! Now, put this aside. Here's the history book. And right here, save the page. There's Chester Dresser right there. Page 43. The cagey looking character. Page 43. And in Kabbalah numerology, Masonic, 43 is one of the numbers. And it says Chester A. Dresser, a later partner and director of the Central Mills Company, was born in 1818, died in 1899. Dresser was a nephew of Ebenezer D. Amadown and was orphaned at age 10 when his mother died. Amadown was appointed Dresser's guardian, his apprentice at various mills locally out of state. He became superintendent of Dresser Manufacturing Company in 1845. This position led him eventually owning Central Mills. And here's Ebenezer. Now these are the early elites of Southbridge, Mass. These Amadowns, and I never heard that name until I realized it was on the building. I don't even know anyone from Southbridge with that name. Another cagey character. Prestigious. Ebenezer D. Amadown was an owner and major investor in what would become Central Mills. He was also involved in many other business endeavors in town. Amadown was born in 1796 and died in 1865. Besides his involvement in local businesses, he was elected to both state legislature and senate. He was instrumental in bringing the railroad to Southbridge, as well as the construction of many roads in the area. This is the other guy that was involved, Manning Lennon. We'll get into this gentleman later. For now, we're at Chester Dresser and the Amadowns. So let's put this in the car. Lock job. All right, now let's look at this real quick, and this is where it says the Quinnebog Valley Council for the Arts and Humanities Incorporated, headquarters of the Arts Center, 111 Main Street, Southbridge, Mass. This building was constructed by Ebenezer D. Amadown sometime between the years of 1825 and 1828. Its magnificence resulted in that it was the largest single residence in the town at the time, which gave it the nickname Amadown Castle. Ebenezer D. Amadown was born in 1796, and he lived here until his death in 1865. Oh, sorry about that. And then it says, when the property passed through his ears for the next 30 years. And then it has a thing here. The Amadown family of Southbridge was large and quite successful in agriculture and commercial enterprises. Amadown's nephew Chester A. Dresser lived with him for a while, and perhaps for that reason the house was eventually purchased by Dresser's widowed daughter-in-law. The home renamed and remained in the Dresser family for years, and thus generally known as the Dresser House. Now let me fix this. Or the pines. After the hemlock trees that were planted around the property. The house remained in the Dresser family until 1977, when it was sold to Ruth D. Wells, wife of Mr. George B. Wells, who then donated the property to the Quinebaug Valley Council for the Arts and Humanities. So there's the dealio on the house. Let's double check my car, make sure it's locked. Off we go. Gotta be careful crossing here. The sunset's gorgeous right now. In view, this is what I'm going to present as the first mud flood house. And there's a lot of mud flood buildings and what people are calling Tartarian architecture. The sign we're at. Focus. Kind of struggling. But this house, from the distance, you'd think it was wooden. But this is a mud flood brick building that was fashioned into a house, and I was lucky enough yesterday to come by here. And a gentleman, Charlie, and he's saying that I can come here Sunday and meet him. He actually lives on the 3rd floor. This is an apartment building. The bottom of these blocks, I'm wondering if this thing was refashioned at a certain time, or them are originally from the 1800s when they said it was built. But look at how good they held up. That's kind of Fudge Factory right there. This one has diagonal. It's all brick painted white. Now this roof was definitely must have been fashioned later. And my theory too is a lot of these houses going along here, these are stone foundations, but a lot of the ones in Southbridge have a brick foundation. I believe them were toppled, mud flooded houses too, and they just use that as well as a foundation for the 3 deckers. It's well ordained. Here's the entrance, 111 Main Street. I just want to take a full gander. That's obviously was built after the bricks. There's a little wood section there. 2 chimneys on this house. I'd love to know what's in the cellar. Ooh, I want to see what's in there. Obviously it's a level down. One window not there. You can tell that soffit definitely wasn't from that era. It's like a barn. Look at that chimney. The window's cool. Wow, it's pretty nice. Nice day in Massachusetts. I like that middle window, the point at the top. I guess only one room in this house is fashioned better than the rest. Get the Solomon's Temple key thing above that on the arch. I'm one of the few truthers who do like Massachusetts videos. I don't cling to a party or anything, but in my local I voted red the whole way down. Don't ever blame me for any of the voting in this areas. I don't even vote for the president. I'm more into history and unraveling what the Masons left and all the mud flood buildings and the Tartarian architecture, as those corners have somewhat of a pillar element to them, which is also a symbol of the Masons. It looks like there's actually 4 chimneys. Beautiful maple tree that hasn't bloomed yet. And now this gentleman, Charlie, that I met up on the 3rd floor, if I interview him, he's one of the few people that see right across the street at Stresser Park. That's where like old folks live. It's not a nursing home, just where elderly live. That's where George Washington Wells' house was built. And that guy was one of the few people who actually walked through the tunnel that goes through there, which would be all the way underneath the ground to down behind those trees where you see the rotary with the people going through the AOs down there. But the question at hand is, why would this guy go underground instead of just walking to work? Like, was he scared for a reason? There's something odd about that. This mural's pretty. Man, this tree's a monster. This video don't give it at all any justice. That thing's gonna be close to 4.5 feet around, maybe even bigger. Look at this. But let's see. Off we go. This is where the first early elites, the Amadowns, lived. But there was actually, in a history book, the Bob Capillo history book, it says there was a village somewhere in East Selfridge where they lived in the 1600s. So it goes that far back. And this year when we go to Oxford's graveyard where Claire Barton was buried, the Amadown grandparents are there, and we're going to see where their parents are and if their family's linked to any courts in England. Now let's go over here just for one quick second. And we're in Southbridge, so you're going to have meatheads. Look at that sunset. That bad energy right there, brother. Alright, so let's get over here and we're going to end it. So look down Southbridge, both sides. See you next time on the next video, Roby 1. I'm out.